to jump about, you lay hold of him and get him away." "Why?" I said. "Well, you see," drawled Jack, "Gyp ain't a human being." "I know that," I replied. "Yes, I s'pose so," said Jack. "Gyp's wonderfully clever, and he thinks a deal; but just now I know as well as can be that he's in a sort of doubt. He thinks these blacks are a kind of kangaroos, but he isn't sure. If they begin to jump about, that will settle it, and he'll go at 'em and get speared, and if any one of 'em sticks a spear into Gyp, there's going to be about the biggest row there ever was. That one the other day won't be anything to it." "Then I shall do all I can to keep Gyp quiet," I said, smiling at Jack's serious way of speaking what he must have known was nonsense. After that I went out of the hut, where Jack Penny was doing what the captain called straightening his back; that is to say, lying down gazing up at the palm thatched rafters, a very favourite position of his, and joined some of the blacks, employing my time in trying to pick up bits and scraps of their language, so as to be able to make my way about among the people when we were left alone. I found the doctor was also trying hard to master the tongue, and at the same time we attempted to make the chiefs understand the object of our visit, but it was labour in vain. The blacks were thoroughly puzzled, and I think our way of pointing at ourselves and then away into the bush only made them think that we wanted fruit or birds. The time sped on while the captain was carrying on his trade, the blacks daily returning from the ship with common knives and hatchets and brass wire, the latter being a favourite thing for which they eagerly gave valuable skins. My wound rapidly healed, and I was eager to proceed up the country, our intention being to go from village to village searching until we discovered the lost man. "And I don't know what to say to it," said the captain just before parting. "I'm afraid you'll get to some village and then stop, for the blacks won't let you go on; but I tell you what, I shall be always trading backwards and forwards for the next 2 years, and I shall coast about looking up fresh places so as to be handy if you want a bit of help; and I can't say fairer than that, can I, doctor?" "If you'll keep about the coast all you can," said the doctor, "and be ready, should we want them, to supply us with powder and odds and ends to replenish our stores, you will be doing us an inestimable service. Whenever we go to a coast village we shall leave some sign of our having been there, a few words chalked on a tree or a hut, something to tell you that English people have passed that way." "All right, and I shall do something of the kind," said the captain. "And look here, I should make this village a sort of rendezvous if I was you, for you'll always be safe with these people." "Yes, this shall be headquarters," said the doctor. "Eh, Joe?" I nodded. "And now there's one more thing," said the captain. 6 foot rule. I suppose I'm to take him back?" "If you mean me," drawled Jack Penny, entering the hut with Gyp, "no, you mustn't take him back, for I ain't going. If Joe Carstairs don't want me, I don't want him. The country's as free for one as t'other, and I'm going to have a look round along with Gyp." "But really, my dear fellow," said the doctor, "I think you had better give up this idea." "Didn't know you could tell what's best here," said Jack stoutly. "'Tain't a physicky thing." "But it will be dangerous, Jack. You see we have run great risks already," I said, for now the time for the captain's departure had arrived, and it seemed a suitable occasion for bringing Jack to his senses. "Well, who said it wouldn't be dangerous?" he said sulkily. "Gyp and me ain't no more afraid than you are." "Of course not," I said. "'Tain't no more dangerous for me and a big dog than it is for you and your black fellow. I don't want to come along with you, I tell you, if you don't want me." "My dear Jack," I said, "I should be glad of your company, only I'm horrified at the idea of your running risks for your own sake. Suppose anything should happen to you, what then?" Jack straightened up his long loppety body and looked himself all over in a curious depreciatory fashion, and then said in a half melancholy, half laughing manner: "Well, If something did happen it wouldn't spoil me, and if I was kilt nobody wouldn't care. Anyhow, I shan't go back with the captain." "Nonsense, my lad," said the latter kindly. "I was a bit rough when I found you'd stowed yourself on board, but that was only my way. You can come back along with me. You're welcome as welcome, and we shan't never be bad friends again." "Would you take Gyp too?" said Jack. "What, the dog? Aye, that I would. Wouldn't I, old fellow?" said the captain; and Gyp got up slowly, gave his tail a couple of wags slowly and deliberately as his master might have moved, and ended by laying his head upon the captain's knee. "Thank ye, captain," said Jack, nodding in a satisfied way; "and some day I'll ask you to take me back. But I'm going to find Joe Carstairs' father first, and if they won't have me along with 'em, I dessay I shall go without 'em, and do it myself." The end of it all was that we shook hands most heartily with the captain next day; and that evening, as the doctor, Jack Penny, Jimmy, Gyp, and I stood on the beach, we could see the schooner rounding a point of the great island, and with a great red ball of fire, the sun, turning her sails into gold, till the darkness came down suddenly, as it does in these parts, and then, though there was the loud buzzing of hundreds of voices about the huts, we English folk seemed to feel that we were alone, as it were, and cut off from all the world, while for the first time as I lay down to sleep that night listening to the low boom of the water, the immensity, so to speak, of my venture seemed to strike me, giving me a chill of dread. That had not passed off when I woke up at daybreak next morning to find it raining heavily, and everything looking as doleful and depressing as a strange place will look at such a time as this. End of Chapter 9. How I was not made into pie.